Hello, and thank you for joining Adobe's On-Demand webinar series. Today, our topic is conversion optimization, and more specifically, looking at what has your data done for you lately. How are you leveraging your data to more effectively improve and optimize the conversions that are happening in your online marketing? I am Adam Justice, Product Marketing Manager for Conversion Products here at Adobe, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Ashish Braganza from Comcast, and it's always great to have an authority on the subject, someone who's at the company in the trenches making it happen, and specifically on the topic of optimizing conversions. It certainly seems like it's a topic today that everybody cares about. You know, how can we improve our online business and see those revenues improve as well. So Ashish, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself, and thanks for joining.
Thanks, Adam. Hey, everyone. I'm Ashish Braganza, Manager of Analytics at Comcast. At Comcast, I run the web analytics, the multi-channel, and the testing and optimization, the digital testing and optimization for Comcast.com. Comcast.com, we are basically focused on two areas. One is revenue generation for the company in terms of subscriptions for video and HSD and phone services, and the other side of what we do is self-service, and we have specific metrics associated to self-service. So today, Adam and I are going to be talking about, my part of this is going to be talking about building a culture of testing and optimization and how we did this at Comcast.
Perfect. Thanks, Ashish. So as we work towards Ashish's topic of testing and how testing is a fundamental part of any conversion optimization program, I'd like to start with this compelling image of this poor, battered, and leaky bucket, and ask those of you that are listening and watching this webinar if you can relate to this, if you can imagine what this image is supposed to represent. And quite frankly, we're looking at this in the context of just about every website out there. And a lot of us think about our websites in the context of a funnel, and to be honest with you, they're more like sieves than funnels. All of us have issues where we're leaking customers, we're losing customers that otherwise might be interested in our products and services. How can we create experiences, content, and offers that present those compelling events and reasons why someone that makes it to our site should stay within the site and within the context of their objective, and hopefully reach the point where they accomplish what they've come to do, and in so doing, we meet our business objectives by seeing sales improve, lead generation improve, no matter what your business is trying to accomplish online. So can you relate to the leaky bucket? Chances are, when you're looking at opportunities to optimize, here's another representation of that bucket in the more traditional form, looking at a conversion funnel. In fact, this funnel represents what we call a fallout report. Some of you might be familiar with that coming from your online analytics, but essentially what this does is represent that bucket and where the holes are. So this was actually, we were given permission by a customer to look at their specific data, and this represents the various portions of their funnel and where they're losing their visitors. In the context of this funnel, imagine that you've got 7 million people hitting your homepage every month, and that would be pretty tremendous. You're probably spending a lot of money to bring them there through multiple efforts and channels. But quickly, immediately you're losing over 30% of those people from that page. Before you know it, they're hitting the page and they're leaving, they're bouncing, they're not going any further. And you can see as someone progresses through the funnel, as we look at the primary stopping points or sort of mileposts in that journey towards conversion where we lose people. Just by looking at this, you can definitely see, wow, our product details page is really struggling. We lose 80% of the people that hit that page. And at the end of the day, when we have 7 million people hitting our homepage, we only have 114,000 completed offers. That might seem pretty extreme because you're looking at a conversion rate that's less than 2%. But as a matter of fact, there are companies out there that would that would love to have a conversion rate of 2%, where industry averages, depending on the vertical or industry you're in, are all tend to hover in the low single digits. And as a matter of fact, speaking of the different industries, when you're thinking or when we're talking about conversion optimization, the first step to optimizing conversions is just to be clear throughout the corporation, throughout the organizations, to what is the goal of our site, our application, whatever marketing effort or campaign we're undertaking. What is the goal? What do we hope to, in the end, accomplish? And obviously, if you're in a lead generation organization, and if you're in high tech or B2B, a lot of what you're doing online is trying to connect potential buyers with your salespeople. And if you're leveraging online to book meetings or simply to inform and educate people, at the end of the day, you want more qualified leads. If you're a media or publishing company, you're looking for engagement. How can we bring people on the site and encourage them to come more often, and once they're there, stay longer? Because the longer they're there, the more ads they're seeing, the more opportunities we have to present them ad impressions and other things that help us make money. Online retailers are obviously looking to get people to add things to the shopping cart and ultimately buy. And in some cases, conversion optimization may be all about cost savings. How can we look at our online business and what we're doing on our website to accomplish it more efficiently? Can we optimize our SEO in a way that actually allows us to save money on our paid search campaigns? Can we more effectively leverage our website to answer people's questions, to diminish or reduce the number of calls that we get at our call centers? So it's important in the context of conversion optimization that we realize that conversion can mean something different for every company. And it might mean 5 different things for your company. But as you think about the ways to improve experiences, the conversation that we're having now and that Ashish will walk you through can certainly be relevant to any one of these. So you heard in the title that we're talking about, what has your data done for you lately? How are you gathering data, and how are you using that data? So it's important for you to ask yourself, well, what are we measuring? And of what we're measuring, what really matters? Because some people become myopically focused on one thing. Maybe it's how many click-throughs are we getting from the homepage, but have you the ability and have you taken the time to think about what click-throughs are the most valuable? Are click-throughs really the most important metric? If we can measure all the way to revenue, then maybe there's something else that actually should be top of mind or should be our primary metric, even from the homepage or any one of those pages in the funnel. And obviously, if you have a different business model than retail, if you're not exchanging money at the end of your engagement, then one of these other items here listed on these little chevron flags might be what you're looking at, time on site. But the important thing is to agree on what it is that you're measuring and what you're trying to optimize for. So your data might look something like this. You might have a host of graphs and reports, and these can be incredibly valuable. And chances are those of you that are listening and watching right now know the reports that every week that you're waiting to see, or the reports that someone is waiting to receive from you, or the reports that the business is run based upon. But the important thing here is to understand that having the data is valuable, but being able to act on that data, being able to alter online experiences, improve online experiences, to improve relevance based on what you're seeing, being able to interpret the data that shows you we've had a breakdown, for example, in our cart ads per product view on the 31st of January. How quickly, when we see that, can we act upon that? How quickly can we alter or improve the user experience to bring our business back in line, or to actually bring our business above line and see the improvements that we know that we need to hit our goals this year? And that brings me to this point, where what I'm calling is the plight of the marketer. You see all of this data coming to a point, and that point rests oftentimes solely on the head of the marketer or on the marketing organization. And the marketer is driven by the goals that they're given for revenue or performance this year, and they think, well, how am I going to go about doing that? certainly you're thinking about, well, how am I going to improve the user experience? How am I going to give that customer every reason to believe that they want to do business with us? But that's not where the story ends. That's only half of the story. If that was the only thing that we had to think of as marketers, our jobs would be actually easier than they are. We wouldn't lose as much sleep as we do. But the truth is, you have to constantly be managing this yin-yang relationship between what am I doing for the customer and what do I have to do for the business. Because if you were, for example, if you were an insurance company and you wanted to keep your customers as happy as possible, you would simply remove all premiums. You would approve all claims. There's things that you would do to make those customers happy, but you would simply be doing so at the damage of your overall business structure and business model. And obviously, we're looking to improve the strength of our business, not weaken the position. So as a marketer, you're constantly looking at, okay, here's what the business is expecting of me. Here are the business objectives, our key business requirements, our key performance indicators. How can I improve the customer? How can I better meet the customer needs and meet their interests and requirements while functioning within the guidelines and parameters of the business objectives? And there are tools and technology that allow you to do that. That's the good news. It might seem brain damaging just looking at this and talking about it, but as Ashish will sort of indicate, you're certainly in a position to move the needle on improving user experiences while doing so with your eyes towards towards meeting or more effectively meeting your key business requirements. So based on that, and in the context of data, what do we know about our customers and how can we put it to good use? Because we're talking about, what has your data done lately for you? What has your data done for you lately? Well, what data do you have, and what data is valuable? In fact, looking at this slide, most companies are now in a position where they can observe site behavior and start to make some assumptions. And when you look at site behavior on its own, you have a relatively murky but nonetheless valuable view of who your customer is. The interesting thing is when you can start laying on other variables, such as where are these individuals coming from, what time of day, what does their system look like, browser, screen resolution, etc. And you continue to layer on information, including even offline variables, CRM system, point of sale data, things that your corporation may know or your company may know about customers, that if you could include them in a profile view of this individual, you end up with a highly predictive yet anonymous profile. And anonymous is an important term there because we certainly want to respect the privacy of our customers and nonetheless come up with a pretty crisp idea of who this individual is and how they may be hoping to interact with our company. So ask yourself as you're viewing this, what access or what data do you have access to now, and how can you start to make use of it? We'll answer some of those questions for you in the next few slides and certainly in Ashish's presentation. So I would offer that some data are more important than others for your business. For example, if you're thinking to yourself, what are some key trigger data points that I might look to model marketing campaigns after? If you're a retail site, obviously cart abandonment, frequency of purchase, average order value. If you're a publisher or a media site, what are your total page views? How frequently are customers coming to your pages and what pages are they viewing, which would allude to what content do they have an affinity for? If you're in the financial service space, what account types does a customer perhaps, what account types do they already hold with your institution? What are their behaviors? What are their balances? In the business-to-business space, what products has a customer or prospect expressed interest in? What is their registration status? Are we looking to upsell to them versus perform a first-time sale? In the demand generation stage, how do we rank them? Are they a warm lead? Is this the first time we've seen them? Have they downloaded a white paper? All of these things allow you to view your individual customers in a segmented way. They give you the insight that allows you to, as a marketer, start thinking about how could I treat these individuals differently or in a more relevant basis per what I know about them, per what the data is telling me. Once we have that understanding, once we're in a position to start understanding what someone is trying to accomplish on the site and how we might treat them in a specific and targeted way, then you're in a position now to start optimizing for conversion, where you can move away from the generic and into the more optimized and relevant and personalized space. So that we're going to ask Ashish to actually walk us through some specifics of ways that they have looked at leveraging their data and their sort of their objective of improving user experiences to improve business results at Comcast. So Ashish, why don't you take it away from here?
Hey Adam, I just wanted to talk about your funnel prior to us, going down the path of measurement and test and target. That funnel used to look more like a martini glass. So we actually had a martini glass of a funnel, not really a funnel. So it's good to see that people have a funnel. But now, of course, we do have a funnel. But so my presentation is going to talk about a lot of companies basically struggle with testing and optimization, and in your things to do, we all have a lot of priorities, and every organization has a long list of priorities to be done. Testing and optimization is priority number 1001 on that long list of things. Mm-hmm. As a result of which, it's really hard to get a testing program up and running, and what I want to focus on is how we did that at Comcast and how we got our testing and optimization up and running at Comcast, because we are a large organization, we've got many competing priorities, but at the same time, there is a way to get this done in spite of having competing priorities. And, moving that martini glass into a funnel, that critical juncture came around only when we got our testing and optimization practice off the ground. So today I'm going to be talking about building a culture of testing and optimization and this is how we did it at Comcast. So one of my favorite quotes is, technology is easy. Overcoming organizational inertia is always difficult. People think testing and optimization, analytic solutions, and the technology is the most difficult part, and they focus too much on the technology piece. But actually, that's the easy part. The culture, overcoming that culture, that's the harder part in many large organizations or even mid-sized organizations. So how do you begin? How do you overcome organizational inertia? How do you build that culture? So basically, and through my experience, this is what I've identified. There are basically 6 rules to how you can overcome that organizational inertia. It's a little bit of organizational intelligence to understand basically how your organization functions. Most organizations, the principles outlined in this slide deck will kind of help you identify with a lot of the rules, and you should be able to kind of focus on these 6 rules, and I think you will find that in every organization it kind of follows a similar pattern. So rule number 1 is it's a crash test dummy, so proofs of concept, and I love proofs of concept because it always, a quick proof of concept and a free one is always good if you can get one. But a proof of concept is a kind of, it lowers the barrier for entry. It kind of, you can go to your executives and say, hey, we ran this proof of concept and it worked. And if the proof of concept doesn't work, there's no need to actually go ahead and do it. So it's testing, test and target. It's testing the optimization as a culture. So you can use a proof of concept in any situation. I mean, back in the day, when we first started building our culture of testing and optimization, it was me and my coworker. We were on a Friday evening at a bar, and we knew that it was happy hour, and we decided it was like, in a week from now, we need to get one test up and running. And we didn't have any resources. We didn't have anything. We somehow got a login, talking to Adobe, we got a login for Test and Target with our account manager, and we somehow pulled resources together, and we just launched our first test. It was a very simple test, very extremely easy test. It was just an A/B test, but we got that small test off the ground pretty quickly. We got 2 pieces of creative, and we got one of our developers internally to write some code, and we were able to get a quick win on that test. And I went back to my boss a week later, showed him the results for it, and he loved it. And as a result of which, he was like, yeah, can we do more of this? So proof of concepts in those scenarios actually work a lot, and things, you can lower the barriers for entry.
So Ashish, was it were you having a dirty martini at the bar? Was that the trigger, the site of your conversion funnel on on the bar?
It really was actually a martini, and it was like, actually, come to think about it, it was actually a martini, and we were like, this is not going to work. We really need to have a funnel. So, but that's how it started off. So our testing and optimization actually started off at a bar.
Well, that is a great story, and I loved one of the points that you made about quick wins, because a proof of concept is an excellent idea, but sometimes people get so bogged down and they can be crushed under their own weight. But this notion of leveraging a proof of concept to produce quick wins and then publishing those wins through your organization like you did is a great piece of advice for people who are looking to get started.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Keep it simple. I mean, that's the whole idea around a quick win. It's like, keep it simple. It's like, if you keep it simple, you get some quick wins in, and then you can you kind of build that momentum to overcome that inertia, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to overcome that organizational inertia. So rule number 2 is, don't be a slow ski. Once you've got your proof of concept up and running, don't feel happy about it, but you need to keep building that momentum. You need to keep pushing that big ball along, and you need to start building it. So this is our Comcast commercial about Bill and Caroline Slowski, about how they're DSL customers, and DSL sucks, but nonetheless. So don't be a slow ski. Always, once you get your POC in and it's successful, start building on it immediately. Rule number 3, always cheerlead your practice. You are the best cheerleader for your practice. You should be talking about it. You should be evangelizing about it. The more you talk to people internally about what you're doing, about the practice of building, of testing and optimization, and why is it important. You need, if you believe in it, you need to keep talking about it. You need to cheerlead your own practice. That's always rule number 3. Rule number 4 is, this is a pretty critical rule. So a lot of times people can get through the first 3, but then they stumble upon rule number 4, because it always comes down to money. And I've seen in many organizations, testing and optimization kind of fails because testing and optimization, if you understand organizational dynamics, the analytics team generally runs testing and optimization in most organizations. And the analytics team as a team is actually an operations unit. It's seen as a cost center to the business. It's not like sales or marketing or media where it's driving revenue, or even like the self-service where it's saving you money. So if test and target sits, or testing and optimization sits in the analytics team, you want to make sure that the person who is going to be driving your strategy, or who's going to be, or you want to really make someone successful, it should be the person who has the purse strings, and that person usually sits in a revenue generating function like marketing or sales. So align your testing and optimization practice with those revenue generating units. Identify in your organization who are those people who are in charge of, who have a P&L, who have budget, and align your testing and optimization program with those teams. It's very critical. Finance is extremely critical once you overcome the initial inertia and you're able to get your practice off the ground. But this will keep you, this will sustain your testing and optimization practice. That's why we have little green vitamin pills out there. That's what we need to carry on. Okay, so no money equals no testing.
That's right. And And Ashish, to your point, marketers make great cheerleaders, right? If you can partner with a marketer who has a number that they need to achieve, and you can show how a test just improved the bottom line, then that is an excellent device working with marketing to get the word out quick, because marketers are great at sort of letting the organization know when they've done something good.
Yeah, it's actually the testing and optimization practices like karma. Like the more you give, the more you get back. So you actually have to make other people successful in your organization, and they will make you successful by investing back in your testing and optimization practice. Moving on to Rule 5. Rule 5 is really important. Now you have the money, you got the cheerleading going on, and you've got your quick wins in. You need to hire a rock star analyst. I have a rock star analyst on my team. She plays the role of a project manager, analyst, multiple roles, but I have a rock star analyst on my team. But you need to hire a rock star analyst. And I love this Intel commercial where it's about rock stars. So yeah, you need to have your geek on the team, and they need to be a rock star. Rule number 6. Start small, crawl, walk, run, supersonic. Now, you started small with a POC. You got some quick wins in. You've got everything aligned. You've got the money. You've got the people. Now is the time where you need to start moving really quickly. So for us, initially when we started off, we were doing one test maybe a month, and now we're doing on average 2.5 tests a week on average. So that is a high velocity of testing, just very high velocity. It's almost like a production assembly line right now. We have timelines when content is due, when code is due, when QA is due, when the campaign shell needs to be built. So Rule 6 is about how do you get up and running quickly. Like once you're up and running, now it has to be a production assembly line. And I'll talk to you in the next slides about how do you get that up and running on a production assembly line. This is one of my favorite quotes, and this is one of my quotes actually. Testing and optimization is not the cavalry. So very often in any organization, testing and optimization becomes it's a cross function that sits between content, UX, and engineering and analytics. So what happens is that engineering wants to control the code, content wants to control the content, UX wants to decide what the UX flow is, and analytics it gets pushed in the backseat. But the beauty about testing and optimization, I believe, is that you can test a concept, and if it works, your engineering team can go and build it as business as usual. So that's why my quote is that testing is not the cavalry, it is the SWAT team. What that means is that you come in there, get the job done, and if it works, engineering, which is your IT organization, they can build it as a business as usual feature on your website, and they're the cavalry. So you can, as a person in charge of testing and optimization in your organization, you can get in there, test it, make sure it works or it doesn't, and if it does, then have other people build it out, and you're on to your next mission. So that's testing and optimization is always the SWAT team. It's not the cavalry.
And with that data, Ashish, when you go to, sorry to interrupt, but when you go into IT, having that data makes all the difference, right? You're not going to them with opinions about what you think might be better for the site. When you have the data and you can demonstrate this, as you said, business as usual should be this rather than what we have now, and we've got the proof per these tests that we've just run.
Exactly, because so we have a really long IT engineering release schedules. Like right now we're in November 2011. We're already talking about February 2012 and March 2012. So if I need to get anything done on the website, I need to make sure in advance that it works, because if we didn't have testing and optimization available, if we weren't able to test, we would go ahead, build it, only to realize 6 months later that it really doesn't work. So So testing and optimization plays a pretty critical role because now we can rapidly test things and know that it works, and then it creates an intake request for our engineering team, and when they get around to it, whenever they do, it becomes a business as usual function, and that way we, the testing and optimization team, look like heroes for the business. They've saved the day. It also helps kind of manage engineering's prioritization. So now they get projects and feature requests which actually do work rather than them working on many different things that are probably never going to work. So they, if you pitch it to your engineering team that you can help them reduce their workload, they are always going to love you for it. So how do you organize? We basically follow a model, and I've come up with this model. It's called the SPADE model. How do you organize your testing and optimization team? And the SPADE model is I call it the SPADE model, but it's basically having 5 functional areas or 5 functional people on your team. S stands for strategy. You need to have someone driving strategy for what we're testing, why we're testing, and how we're testing. P is project management. This is a pretty critical role, and in many organizations, testing and optimization fails because of the lack of project management, and I'll go a little bit deeper into project management. A is analytics. You need to have a strong analytics team that can identify the information that they're looking at, because it could be analysis paralysis. So the analytics team, having a good analytics team is really critical. D is design and content. So you need to have a content team and a UX team. So design and content is critical in an optimization practice. And last, of course, last but not the least, is engineering. So ideally, if you have a developer on your staff inside the business unit or on the analytics team, that really goes a long way. So that's the five constructs of how you should structure your testing and optimization team, and that's the SPADE construct. So moving on, I'm just going to dive a little bit deeper into the SPADE construct. Strategy. So strategy should always be singular focus that aligns to a profit center. I spoke to you about a profit center before. A profit center could be defined as a revenue generating function or a cost savings function. So if the function is to deflect calls into a call center to save money, that's a profit center. If the function is to drive more sales or it's a media or marketing, that's a profit center. So the strategy generally comes from either a senior level executive on any one of these particular teams that are responsible for P&L, that are responsible for the budget, and you really want to focus on what makes them look good. And they should drive your singular focus, because once you start getting successful with testing and optimization, you're going to get a lot of requests coming in to do a lot of things, and you want to make sure that you're working on the right thing at the right time for the right person. And that's why singular focus, that aligns with the profit center. Moving on to project management. Now, yeah, I know this is Eli Manning, and I live in Philly, so I'm probably going to get lynched for this because, yeah, this is, anyways, but my presentation was in New York, so, I was trying to, target to a different audience, because I couldn't go with a Philly team in New York. That wouldn't be good for me. So project management, you need a great quarterback. You really need a great quarterback. You need someone who's going to be there for you, who's going to field those requests, who's going to talk to engineering, talk to content, talk to the UX team, talk to the strategy team, or the people who are driving strategy for your testing and optimization practice. But this person overall, as a personality type, should be a person who's friendly, who's really nice, who can work well in cross-functional environments, because this person is going to be critical in pulling all those different disparate pieces together, because you need to know, and they have to be hyper-organized, because they need to keep everything together for you. They need to know when when content is due, when the code needs to be deployed by engineering, what's the next test that needs to be planned, and then what are the results? Are the results being communicated out to the stakeholders appropriately? So having a great project manager definitely does help. This person may or may not have a lot of technical skills, but that's all right. But if they have strong project management background, that would definitely help your testing and optimization practice. Moving on to analytics. Fewer KPIs and keep it simple. So a lot of times I'm an analytics person, and it's always analysis paralysis. I'm not a project management person, though, by the way, because I'm a very binary person. It's either 1 or 0, and that doesn't work well, especially when you're dealing with a lot of creative people. So I have a separate project manager, which I manage, but I'm an analytics person, so I always believe it should be very simple, very crystal clear what the KPIs are. So fewer KPIs, and you keep it simple. And with the testing, the more. And you need to define your KPIs in advance of your testing. So if you define it after you finish your testing, that's going to be a problem. So try and keep it simple and define it before you actually go into a test. That will save you a lot of pain later on, actually. The D is design. So the beauty about testing and optimization is it doesn't matter how your design agency looks. Okay, if your design agency looks like recipe A or your design agency looks like recipe B, okay, it doesn't really matter, because the beauty about testing and optimization is that however sucky your design agency is, you can test what they have to offer you. And that's the beauty about it. By the way, our design agency looks like recipe A, though, so yeah, but the recipe B guys were, I don't know if they're any good, but yeah. So basically, the design agencies are important. You need to have content to actually test, and you need to have and you can test that. You can test any kind of design that they pretty much give you, and that's the beauty about testing and optimization. Finally, E is engineering. Engineering, I love this Dilbert cartoon that talks about it. We talk about agile programming all the time. Launch early and iterate. A lot of engineering teams use the waterfall method of code development for their software development lifecycle. We, however, for testing and optimization, you need to use the agile method of code development, where you're rapidly testing, rapidly deploying code. Of course, not like with the Dilbert cartoon that talks about agile programming doesn't mean no QA. You definitely have to QA your code before it goes on the website. You really do not want to break a production website. That's going to kind of pretty much put your testing and optimization practice in the slammer.
And Ashish, one thing that I like about that is that agile, by definition, means that it's moving and evolving, and our customers are. So if you're not in a position where you can evolve the presentation of your content or your offers, then what was relevant yesterday may not be relevant today. It might, but it might not. So having an analytics program that's kind of showing you how different offers are performing, once you're in a position to act on that, you're right, you need to be, and if you have all these individuals as you outline them lined up and available, then you can quickly evolve and make sure that A, you're taking advantage of opportunities as they present themselves, and B, you're avoiding becoming antiquated, out of date, out of touch with what the customers are looking for.
Absolutely. So that's I have a developer that generally with a lot of advanced testing and optimization practices, the developer generally sits on the analytics team. But if you can't get a developer sitting on the analytics team, that's okay. You can work with your engineering team. But try and have, as far as possible, try and get that developer on your analytics team, because I have a developer who'll build code at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then he'll send me a message on my BlackBerry and say, oh, code is built, ready to be deployed. That's the kind of guy that you want on your team, because he can move really quickly, rather than your regular engineering team that's going to ask you to wait in queue for a lot of things. So when you really want to have a developer on your team, preferably if that's possible. So I just wanted to share some results with you from our analytics, from our testing and optimization practice. And I love this quote. It says, "In God we trust, all others must bring data." So do we have results? Yes, we do have results for you. I wanted to focus on, the test that I want to share with you and what I can share with you are tests that we ran very initially when we were just getting our practice off the ground. We've got very sophisticated with our testing and very fancy with our testing. But for this audience, I just wanted to share like things that you can do that are so simple, but at the same time give you so much that kind of took us so far that it kind of just built a lot of excitement. So this was the first test that we ran. We basically had two experiences. This is something that we had in our shopping cart, where on the triple play message, which like when a customer comes to buy high-speed internet, phone, and cable, that's a triple play package. We actually, all that we did was we showed a starburst of $200, as you can see out there. It's a $200 starburst, which in both experiences, the customer was entitled to that $200 starburst, but we called it out more prominently in version B, and we said, hey, you get a $200 starburst, which was also available in experience A, in the offer itself. It's not that the customer is getting a different offer. It's just that now we're calling out a starburst, and we're saying, we're highlighting it and saying, hey, it's a $200 offer. We actually saw a 44% lift in the conversion rate. And that, with the volume of traffic that we get to our website, a 44% lift in the conversion rate is significant, very significant. That itself paid for my entire testing and optimization practice. And it's a very simple test, very easy, very simple. And when I sent the results over to my boss, he was like, we need to do more of this.
Yeah, that's interesting. I see that it's actually the first bullet in your offer, and sometimes I think we become, as we're creating these offers, we almost become blind to what people do and don't see because we've seen it 100 times. But this is really impressive because you're right, it's not rocket science, and wow, that's some significant benefit for running that one test.
Yep, a 44% lift for us is that's really big. And then we took a look at, not only did we see a 44% lift in the conversion rate, but we also saw an 18% skew or a shift in customers buying the premium tier. So because we showed that starburst on the premium tier, so not only did we get a higher conversion rate overall, but now customers were buying a higher average revenue per unit product also. So we had not only a good success with an increase in conversion rate, but now customers, we were able to successfully skew customers towards increasing our revenue, our average revenue per unit number also. So really successful test, and this kind of got us started with the testing and optimization practice. Another simple test that we ran was a simple banner ad test. And what I want to show out here is that it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be, a multivariate test that you need to start with. You can start with a simple A/B test, and the results will speak for itself. So this was a banner ad test where we ran it on the voice product, and this is on the homepage of Comcast.com. And the only thing that's different in version B is that we had the best price logo. It says best price, and with a little tag out there, and that increased the click-through rate by 2.35%. Now our homepage gets millions and millions of, our traffic is a very high volume traffic website. So 2.35% increase in the click-through rate, that is highly significant for us, and that's on the homepage. So something as simple as just showing a best price creative, that's how it's the small things. It's not the big things that you change, but it's the small things and the many small things that you do that collectively has a bigger impact. We also ran a test. We also ran a celebrity test. This is an interesting test actually because Comcast partners up with celebrities occasionally. For that period of time, we had Jane Lynch running. We also had Neil Patrick Harris running. I didn't want to publish the Neil Patrick Harris results, but I said, let's do the Jane Lynch test. And actually, Jane Lynch decreased click-through rates by 1.4% on our homepage deal. So Jane Lynch was out. But that's, we get to test now different celebrities. So this is our very own version of American Idol, actually. Moving on. Yeah, so bright, shiny, bouncy, fluffy. What are the emerging industry trends? So, I wanted to walk you through some easy tests that we ran, and now we've got some sophisticated tests. But what is the future looking for the testing and optimization practice? What are the emerging trends that we see? So one thing that, and this is not currently something that we're doing, but things that we see across the industry, and talking to many different organizations as to where their testing and optimization practice is. These are the trends I see happening in the next 12 to 16 months out. This is what I call it as multi-channel conversion optimization. So this is a Forrester research article that talks about online-offline conversion. So what this article says is that in 2014, 53% of all offline sales that you probably have at your point of sale, or you probably have it at your call center, is going to be driven by an online interaction. What that means is that people are coming online to do their product research. They may not be buying your products online, but they're going to an offline location now to buy that product or service. So hence comes up with the concept of multi-channel conversion optimization. Multi-channel conversion optimization builds on this data set, which believes that you can have now a direct impact. Your testing and optimization practice, you can show differentiated content to a customer, and through products like multi-channel products like Omniture Insight, you can now measure and see customers who come online who see version A, what is their conversion rate in the call center, versus customers who see version B, and what is their conversion rate in the call center. So though your customers may not convert online, you can see for all those customers who do not convert online now, how are you converting them in your other offline channels? And you can differentiate the content that those customers see and drive sales now in your offline channels. So really powerful stuff with Omniture Insight coupled with your testing and optimization practice. So we're building in the multi-channel, and we're building in the conversion optimization. So this is what I call it as MCO, or multi-channel conversion optimization. Sounds like a mouthful. But this is something which I see it as an emerging trend in the industry. My final slide is about, it talks about, this is my favorite slide, I call it about building Skynet. And just for those of you who don't know what Skynet is, it's the system that took over the world in Terminator. So it's a computer system. So this is my formula for building Skynet. So listen pretty closely as to how you build Skynet, and it has a Facebook-like sign also. But building Skynet is, I call it intelligence plus knowledge equals awareness. And what do we call by what do I mean by intelligence and knowledge? So intelligence is, these days a lot of organizations have predictive targeting tools or predictive optimization platforms that can basically, like test and target one-to-one, for example, that in real time have the ability to serve differentiated content to various customers and increase their conversion rate. But test and target one-to-one looks at roughly 250 different parameters in real time, and it kind of builds a data model, but it's always about the on-site behavior of that customer. So it looks at things like the keyword that they search for, or the referring URL, or the IP address, the time of day, day of week, day of month, and things like that. And it tries to build a model, then predict what creative to show the customer, But all the parameters are based on the on-site behavior of that customer. What we want to show out here is that, but it doesn't really have, it has the intelligence, but it doesn't have the full knowledge. And full knowledge is where we now begin to integrate third-party online, offline segment data. So data coming in from your CRM system, data coming from other data providers. Omniture recently purchased a product called Demdex, which is more of a DMP, a data management platform, where you can upload data where you can use multiple data sources, third-party data sources from your ad networks, but that can be integrated now into a one-to-one platform. So you not only have intelligence, you not only have an intelligent tool that knows what to serve the customer, but it also has knowledge about the customer. And this is all non-PII data, but has knowledge now what websites the customer visited, what did the customer have a car purchase in the last few months, did the customer visit, say, any social networking site or any, like, what type of content the customer consumed. So all of that rich set of offline third-party data now combined with the on-site business intelligence that one-to-one provides you with, now that becomes a model where you have intelligence plus knowledge and you get awareness. And that you get a targeting solution which is way ahead than just having an on-site targeting solution. So that pretty much is my presentation for today. And Adam, if you have any questions for me, I don't know, but that pretty much wraps up my presentation.
Thank you, Ashish. Questions now, but certainly a lot of appreciation. Even if your prognostication took a dark turn there at the end with the Skynet reference, I couldn't agree with you more. That really represents kind of a bit of the promised land where you have that system that's contemplating all the available data points and then literally providing the intelligence as to what is going to be. Almost even a predictive sense, what's going to be the best offer for you to present that individual to stay relevant. So thank you so very much. I think that your rules to follow, as well as the constructs to what represents a solid team that's basically primed for success are points that anyone either getting ready to start an optimization program or even someone with one in midstream can derive a lot of value out of following. So we really appreciate your insight, Ashish. It's great to have words from someone out there who's making it happen. Thank you very much. And I think with that, we'll conclude the webinar. Those that are watching and listening, if you're interested in more webinar content from Adobe, please feel free to click on any of the live links just below this content within the webinar player. We hope that you'll do that and you find information that you find interesting and will help you improve your business. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.